No mai, haere mai, welcome along. Thank you so much again for coming. Today we're going to start lying on our backs, please. So come and lie down. Okay, so we've got knees bent up, feet flat on the ground, spreading your toes, arms dropping to your sides, just comfortably, have a wee wriggle. So we'll just take a few breaths as usual to settle ourselves in, to focus our awareness in the space coming into your body, so internalizing your attention, noticing any tension that you're holding that you could consciously relax. Let the front of your neck feel relaxed and open, so there's no tension there. And gentle softening around the chest, so the whole rib cage just feels like it relaxes down. The softness in the belly, so if it feels like you're gripping those muscles all day, just let them soften. So we're making space to breathe, allowing the belly to rise and fall with each breath. Let it swell. You may even bring your fingers to your belly just to feel that movement beneath your hands. If you have a tendency to clench your jaw, just let that relax back. And we'll let the awareness of our breath shift into the back body. So there's a sense of expanding across the back of your ribs, not just the front and sides, but we're getting some movement against the ground beneath you. Might be a very subtle awareness. Get a sense of breathing into the space around your lower back. It can be quite a challenge, quite a big shift of awareness. But just directing our attention into that space. So you might notice if you're holding any tension in the muscles in the low back area. And as that starts to relax and release, then you might start to feel the space open with each breath. Now bringing your hands onto your hips. So your fingers are at the front of your hips and the thumbs wrap around the back. Separate your knees so that they're about hip width apart, so they're not fully resting together but they're not dropping out. And spreading your toes, pressing down into your feet. As you push into your feet, you'll start to feel the tip of the pelvis, so feel that movement there. And continue to move as the hips lift off the ground, peeling your spine off the floor. So it doesn't have to be extremely high, just enough to activate those glute muscles. Then we'll roll back down really slowly. And then when you land, let's rise again. So pressing down into your feet, feel that little pelvic tilt first, feel the glutes activate. Floating higher. Keep your throat, the front of your neck relaxed. And then slowly lower back down again, moving with control, feeling each vertebra of your spine relax one at a time. And again, rising up. Just pause at the top and take a breath and try to breathe into the low back area again. And then slowly roll back down. When you get to the bottom, just release arms to your side so they're straight down. Then just as slowly we'll rise back up, but bring your arms up the sides of your body and slowly to overhead. Just to wherever they get to. Maybe you could get the backs of your hands to the floor, or you might find that challenging if you've got a limited overhead range. Pause at the top and take a breath. And then slowly reverse, lowering back down, bringing arms down your sides. Pause for a moment at the bottom, and then rise again. Pause at the top and hover. And roll back down. And we'll just do one more of these. Hover and lower. And once you land, let your knees fall over to one side, keeping your feet on the ground. You might even turn your head to look in the other direction. Then knees come to the other side, head turns to look away. Come back up through center. Okay, now bring your arms overhead to the ground above you. Then bend your elbows, drag them along the sides of your body, hands slide down. Stretching arms high. Well, when I say high, they're above you on the ground. And then pull your elbows down. Try to keep at least the backs of your fingers or your fingernails sliding along the ground. So it might be a challenge to get the hands down or even the forearms, but we're working to open up across the chest, so as low as you can is going to be good. Extending up high and lower. So you might just naturally be breathing out when you bring the arms down, and to be breathing in as you extend. Let's do two more of these. And extending out long, coming down. And we'll just extend here. And then bring your knees up towards you, feet float off the ground. Gently hug them in. So holding on to one knee in each hand. And we'll just rock from side to side. We're kind of pedaling the legs a bit. Just finding some movement here, mobilizing the hips. Maybe you want to make some circles with each knee. Maybe you want to pedal the legs if that feels better. Any kind of shape that feels good to you. Just create movement. Okay, and then come and roll over and make your way up onto hands and knees, please. Spreading your fingers, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Now, keeping your weight forward, so that means shoulders are set right over your wrists, and we're powering down into the hands. We're just going to move the center of the chest down towards your thumb. So coming straight down. Feel your shoulder blades slide together across your back ribs. And make sure that you're not dropping your head. So you want to just slightly lift the back of the head. So we're visualizing a long line through the back body. Then we'll reverse it by scooping in through the chest and let your shoulder blades broaden across your back. So it's just down and up, lowering the chest down, and maybe a very small movement. So chest down, think about the position of your head, and then push into your hands, broaden across your upper back, and hollow out through your chest. Coming down, we'll just do this 2 more times. And up. Coming down. And up. All right, sit back, bringing your knees just a little bit wider, and just sit back onto heels, and we'll relieve the wrists, circling gently. Think about moving your thumbs as well. So circling the thumbs. And just reverse circles in the other direction. Okay, coming to hands and knees again. This time we'll move into more of a cat-cow sequence, movements, poses. So this time our focus is on the belly button. Think about drawing your belly button down towards the floor. And then lifting your belly button up in towards your spine. Arching the other way, so that's our cat pose. Belly button moves down. And then pull it up into your spine. And we'll think about the chest as well. So belly button and chest come down, shoulder blades slide towards each other, and your eye gaze just moves ahead on the ground ahead of you. And then pulling in, rounding out. Take it a bit further. Let's go for 2 more, lowering down. Eyes just ahead. And pulling in, rounding up. Eyes to knees or thighs. And then settle into a neutral position. If you want to relieve the wrists again, let's get those circles happening in any direction. From your hands and knees. Okay, this time we're drawing belly down, so starting with the cow pose. As we start to get a bit deeper, you might bring your eye gaze further ahead of you. And then scooping in to your cat. Creating a bit more of a sequence now, we'll draw the belly down into your cow pose. And then instead of coming to cat, we're sitting hips back towards heels. Now rising up, so your hips lift just above your knees and float your arms high. So stretching up tall, just pause here for a moment. So there might be a bit of activity in those glutes, so a little bit of muscular tension, and the belly is drawing in just enough to keep your body nice and long, straight and upright. Then elbows pull down your sides, just like when we were lying on our backs. Stretching up, so a bit of tension in the glutes and the abs. Then sitting hips back towards heels. Keep your arms right up by your ears. Then float your hands down and shift forward into your cow pose. And rounding out to cat. So we've created a wee sequence here. Come to your cow. Then sit hips back to heels. And stretch up tall. Think about how long your body can be. So it's just like when we were lying on our backs. So making sure that we're not letting the back arch. Just enough tension in the abs and the glutes to stabilize. Then pull your elbows down. Arms reach high. Try to keep them in line with your ears if that's where they are. If they're forward, that's fine, depending on your overhead range. But try to keep them as high as you can get them. Stay strong as we sit hips back and reach arms forward. Then we land. Float through to your cow and then to your cat. So we know the sequence now. Start to move at your own pace. You may even synchronize with your breath. You can close your eyes if you want to. We've got time to do a few rounds. Let's go for 2 more cycles. Eventually, when you've completed your last cycle, making this the last one, we'll sit back into a child's pose, so knees a little bit wider, hips come back, arms outstretched, and you can keep them there, or you can bring your palms together and bring thumbs to the back of your head. Shifting breath into your back body, particularly down towards the low back area. Releasing arms, come up to hands and knees. Step your right foot through into a lunge. Bring it all the way forward so we're not stopping back here. All the way up. You can keep your hand to your thigh and just ease in. So we're lifting the chest, lengthening out to the crown of the head. Make sure you're heavy in your heel. Now slide your hips back. Let's see if we can work to keep your upper body nice and long so that we're not hunching here. We're lengthening from the hips out to the crown of the head. So your knee can be as bent as it needs to be. But we're working into a hamstring stretch up through the back of the leg. If you prefer to lift your toes, that's an option too. It's a bit more, brings a bit more intensity into the stretch. Okay, and then flatten the foot again, come into your lunge. If you want a bit of movement, go for it. Kind of sliding side to side or just hold it. Then coming back onto your knees, to switch to the other side. So the left foot comes through. Bring it all the way forward. Just dropping in. Gently opening hips. So notice if you feel really tight at the front of the hip there. I'm sure we all do, most of us do. Now sliding your hips back. Foot flat, or you can lift the toes, whatever you prefer, or maybe you want to start with the foot down and the knee generously bent, just so that we can really work on our posture first. Check in with your breath, so keep directing your breath low down into your body and particularly into that space of the lower back. Maybe you want to lift the toes. Okay, and then we'll flatten the front foot again, dropping into your lunge, bit of side to side movement, if it feels good to you. Always check in with your back, especially if that's a tender area for you. We always want it to feel good. Then we're coming into a forward fold. So, stepping in. Bring your feet under your hips. Let your body drape down. Maybe hold on to elbows. Hold still or create some movement, whatever feels better for you. You can have your knees bent as much as you need. Keep the pressure out of the compression out of the lower back. Bring your hands up to your shins and lift to a flat back. So extending your chest forward. Pause to feel your breath, just like all of our other poses. Make sure that we're not tensing up too much in the lower back. We want to breathe into that space. See how that changes the pose for you. Now curling all the way up to standing, bend knees as you go, and sweep arms high. Hands come down to your center. Just pause here for a moment to readjust. Keep your collarbones broad. Just like when we were extending up before, we want the belly button just gently pulling in towards the spine, and that sense of lengthening and broadening across the lower back. So you might be just softening the knees a bit, create some buoyancy in the body, so we're not rigid soldiers. Now extend your arms up and drop the left arm down into a side bend. So you can have your hand to your hip and curve across, or you could stretch your arm down your leg. But think about lifting here, not about falling down, dropping down. We want to create a lot of lift and length through the body. Then we'll come to the other side. Coming over. Both arms come up. Bring your arms wide and soften your knees just a little. and then turn your upper body to one side. So we're keeping everything else as it is. Just make sure that we're not locking the knees, because often that can change the rest of your posture. So we want just that buoyancy in the body, then we can keep that nice stability through the upper body. And then around to the other side. So try not to move your hips, just move the upper body. Squaring off, arms rise, and tip to your forward fold. Bring your hands up to your shins. Pause to feel your breath again. Okay, now just bring your hands up to your thighs and then step your left foot back. You can keep a slight bend in this front knee and then slide your hands down to your shin again. So both hands to the front shin. Notice if your hips have turned open, can we try to level them off a bit more? That means making the back leg really powerful, so we're not twisting or collapsing that back knee. And again, if your front knee needs to be generously bent because of the tightness in your hamstring, it's fine, just work with it. Hold on to those full deep breaths. Right the way down to your lower back. Okay, and then stepping in. Come halfway up again, hands to your shins. Pause to breathe. Hands come up to your thighs and step your right foot back. Squaring off and then reaching down to your shin. Coming in to your forward fold. Halfway lift. Try to make your hands lighter now, so we're just lightly touching with the fingertips instead of resting here with the hands. So see how light you can be. Check in with your breath. Now bend knees and curl your way up to standing, all the way up. Arms come high, they touch at the top. Come down center, thumbs to your heart space. Pause to take a breath. Now arms come high. Drop one arm down to a side bend. Come up center and over to the other side. Both arms up. Bring them out wide. Little softness in the knees so we can maintain our posture, and then turn your body around to one side. You might not get all the way, so you might kind of be to the diagonal. Just see how far that back arm can go without having to twist the hips. Open wide and come to the other side. Rising up and release down to your fold. Okay, hands up to your shins. Make your hands really light here. And then bend your knees and step your left foot back. Pitch the hips back, lengthen your chest forward, and you can rest your hands on your shin, or you might reach fingertips down to the floor. Just see if you can do that without hunching through your upper back. So all that work we've done prior to this, try to maintain your posture. That balance of not being hunched, not being arched, not making bananas. Be long and spacious. So if you need to support yourself higher, go for it. Great, now bend the front knee, sweep your arms up high, stretch up tall. Now shift your weight forward, keep shifting until the back leg lifts. Keep reaching fingers away from your toes. Open arms wide. Bring your right hand down and the left arm high, turning your body open to one side. Breathe deeply into the lower back. Now open arms wide and twist to the other side. So left hand comes down, right arm comes high. Keep the lifted leg strong and as high as you can get it. Open arms wide. Step into a forward fold. One leg might be feeling a bit more fatigued. It's good, we're building strength and stability. Come halfway up. Lighten the hands a bit more. Suddenly a whole lot of other muscles need to engage. Step your right foot back. Stay as high as you need to support yourself. Maybe bend the knee a bit more if you need it. Or you might be able to reach fingers down to the ground. As long as we're not compensating in our posture or in the stretch or in any other way. Make sure it's a sustainable pose. One where you can breathe with ease. Bend the front knee a little more, drive down into your feet and sweep arms up high. Now shifting forward until the back leg lifts off. Then start to tip, keeping arms right up to your ears. Back leg long and strong. That will help with your balance. Float arms wide. Keep tipping your chest down, lifting that top leg. Then rotate open, so the left arm comes down, the right arm comes high. Breathe. Then open wide, facing the ground again. You might need an extra squeeze of the glute on the right side. Then turning the other way, right arm down, left arm high. There's the challenge. Hold and breathe. You can touch the floor if you need. You can bring hand to thigh. Let's finish it. Arms come wide. And step into your forward fold. Oh, what a relief. Create some movement here if you want. Maybe hold on to your elbows. Easy breaths. Come halfway up. You can be lightly touching your shins, or you can open arms wide so you know that you're not using your arms. Here the legs need to be really strong, and we need good posture through the upper body so the breath can flow. Okay, and then soften knees, curl and roll on up. Arms come high, hands come to center. Stretching up, rise with the in-breath. And with the out-breath, let one arm drop down. Again, think more about that lift. Bottom arm up, take a breath in, and lower the arm with the out-breath. Coming up, dive to your forward fold. Lower down, tuck one leg under. Let's go right leg out straight and the left foot tucked in. So we're sitting up tall. Just like before, we've been pretty consistent with our posture this whole session. Coming forward doesn't have to be far at all. Enough to feel that stretch up through the back of the leg. Just gently leaning in. Think about the position of your head, so we're not dropping the head and overextending the back of the neck. So you may just want to gently lift the back of your head. So kind of pulling your jawline back towards your throat. You may also get a stretch around the outer hip on the other side. Could be a bonus. Okay, and then we'll sit up, and this bent knee just comes up so the foot is flat. Make sure that your hips are level. Sit up tall. Keep that long leg quite strong by flexing the foot. Then we'll turn to face the bent knee. You can hold it with your hand or wrap your elbow. Chest proud and turn to look behind you. Okay, let's do the other side. Just switch the legs over. Doesn't matter which way you're facing. Sit tall. Start to inch your way forward without any strain. Check in with the lower back. Check in that these shoulders aren't hunching and curling. Stay broad, stay nice and open. Very spacious in all of our poses today. Coming up to our seated twist, so the knee points up and the foot is flat. Maybe a bit of a wriggle so it feels like your pelvis is square. Sit tall, turn, hug your thigh in close towards you, hand or elbow wraps, other hand behind, and try to roll that back shoulder open so we're staying broad across the chest and collarbones. May help to keep your leg quite active. It might help to create more of an uplift in your body. So we're not just passively relaxing here, quite a difference. Okay, and coming out, lie onto your back, please. Feet come in. Knees hip width apart so they're not dropping out, not resting in. Arms to your sides and lift your hips off. Just take your time. Find a place that's sustainable, so if there's any discomfort in your lower back, let's see if we can just create a bit more of a pelvic tilt, so we're activating the glutes and bringing a bit more power into the leg so it's not all into the lower back area. Try to breathe into that space. Throat relaxed. Nose pointing straight up. Can you hold a little longer? Lower down whenever you like, or you can stay up here with me and we'll just stay for a few more breaths. Big deep breath. See where you can breathe into. And then we'll slowly lower down. Take your time. till finally the hips land. Then drop your knees over to one side, let them rest there. Maybe turn to look away. And then to the other side, drop the knees across. And just for last few minutes, we'll do a few minutes here. You could stretch your legs out long, but notice if your back starts to arch. We don't want to undo all of our good work. So if your back is lifting away from the ground, just bring your knees up again and you'll find a more neutral position. Arms relaxed at your sides, or you could have fingers on your belly to feel your breath. Relax your jaw, your face, your throat and chest, rib cage, belly, hips. Scanning through, relaxing as you go. Just a couple more breaths here. Big, deep, full breaths. And then when we start to move again, maybe just start with your hands and feet. Maybe your head, wrists, ankles. You might want to stretch arms overhead. Finally, gathering knees in. And rolling over and coming up into a seated position. Finishing here together. Feel how spacious your breath is now. Expansive. And easeful, unrestricted. We'll take another breath to close our class. Sweep arms wide and stretch up high. Touch at the top. And with your out breath, slide down your center, landing at your heart space. Thank you so much for joining me again. So nice to have you. Namaste, ngā mihi nui, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.